Hello and welcome back to our Albion Online gameplay video logs. We're on our third episode.
One step at a time.
Here, the quests now revolve around refining our raw materials.
You got
Previously,
this.
on the second video, we were gathering our different resources like the birch logs, our hides from the foxes, some copper ores, and some cotton fibers. Here, they're asking us to refine our materials through the different refining buildings. According to the Albion Online Wiki, there are 5 potential refined sources in Albion Online. We have our cloth, leather, metal bars, planks, and stone blocks. These refined resources are used as components in the crafting of a wide range of items, including your weapons, armors, tools, and consumables. Each refined resource is associated with a specific crafting specialty and is used in the crafting of items in that discipline. To unlock the refining subtree in the Destiny board, players must first unlock the Journeyman Refiner node. This Journeyman Refiner is unlocked through the Trainee Craftsman skill, which is the starting point for all crafting in Albion Online. Once players have unlocked Journeyman Refiner, they can progress through the refining subtree and unlock new refining skills and specialties that increase their resource return rate and reduce the cost of refining. So in conclusion, refining is a critical component of Albion Online's crafting system that plays a crucial role in the production of usable items. By refining your raw materials gathered from nodes in the game's world, players can turn these materials into refined resources that are used as components in crafting. Whether players choose to specialize in refining or experiment with multiple crafting specialties, the refining system in Albion Online provides a unique and engaging experience for the players. At this point of the quest, they're asking us to go to the outpost and steal the heretic map. So, who are these heretics? The heretics are a non-player faction comprised of the unlucky criminals and disgraced nobles who made up Albion's first colonists. They were completely abandoned by the old world, and they now fight just to survive in their harsh new home. They are scrappy, resourceful, and often insane. Those who underestimate them do so at their own peril. So, just a quick story about the heretics. When the king first decided to exploit Albion, he did it as cheaply as possible. Criminals serving long sentences or waiting execution were given the choice to become colonists instead. Other undesirables, from those with ancient blood ties to the king's enemies, to the odd noble that had fallen out of favor, were also encouraged firmly to serve overseas. Only men were sent in the first expedition. The king didn't intend this to be anything other than a short-term measure, and knew that if such a volatile bunch were able to put down roots, they might become a problem in the long term. So for 4 years, the colonists managed to survive. Albion was tough on them and took its toll as they learned which things were safe to eat and which might eat them. Divisions soon emerged, and the group splintered off into various sub-factions. The largest of these was led by a man called Gibson, a butcher by trade with a good head for figures. Gibson had got on the wrong side of the king due to his outspoken views on taxation, which you might eventually feel once you get to the main island. He was a methodical man who knew how to divide things fairly and wasn't afraid to speak out. He was also handy with a meat cleaver. As the colonists prospered, they drew the attention of Albion's more dangerous inhabitants. Their simple fences were more than adequate to keep out hungry wolves. But when the keepers and their giants came, it was a different story. Turfed out of their own home and forced to flee into unknown areas, it was only a matter of time before the weak bonds between them started to break. Their enemies possessed strange powers, turning the very land against them, and as they ventured deeper into Albion, they came across fresh horrors, the Walking Dead. Huge knights armored in fire and black iron, and wild beasts straight out of legend. As they looked from bloodthirsty giants and axe wielding berserkers on one side to wicked occultists and their soul drinking demons on the other, their leaders came to an irrefutable conclusion. Albion was a place of nightmare, and it, along with all of its inhabitants, had to be destroyed. The old world had cast them out, and Albion had rejected them, so they would burn it all and start again. Learning about their lore, you could see that they're simply just misunderstood people. They were rejected by the place that they came from and threatened by the place they were put in. So what would naturally happen is that they would begin to work their own weapons, crude things that could only hold the weakest of Albion's magic. But even so, it was significant, the first step in a much greater plan. Falling back on old survival skills, they laid low and sent out spies to observe Albion's natives. From a distance, they observed strange rituals and rites. Daring raids secured them scraps of knowledge from the other factions, and some of them tried to recreate the rituals with limited success. Others attempted to tap into the magic of the land in their own way, without training, and were never the same again. Though they could not equal the power of Albion's other magical factions, they did succeed in creating their own staves and artifacts, empowering their first mages. The growth in power reflected their growing madness. Even the pragmatic Gibson was affected. One night he simply wandered away only to return a month later, changed, proclaiming himself a heretic. Shortly afterwards, all contact was lost between the colony and the old world. The Royal Expeditionary Forces arrived a few years later to find their countrymen had rejected the old world and were calling themselves heretics. Diplomacy between the two groups never even started as the heretics attacked anyone they encountered on sight. Albion had driven the heretics to embrace the worst parts of themselves, and everyone was poorer as a result. While they share a title, the heretics are not one single faction. They are indeed as likely to attack each other as they are any of the other groups. So the heretics are divided into two subgroups. We have the scavengers and then the fanatics. So the scavengers are the rank and file of the heretics, motivated by the need to fill their bellies. A mix of poachers, archers, and thieves, they're lightly armored for speed and stealth, and favor quick or ranged weapons. Always desperate, they'll kill you if they can and take your things. If they can't kill you, they'll just take your things. And if you're too strong even for that, they'll run away. They know they're outmatched by most of the other factions and increase their odds through a combination of underhanded tactics, low cunning, and a complete lack of conscience. While the fanatics, these are the heretics who have tapped into Albion's magic in various ways. One might watch a keeper ritual and manage to repeat a twisted version of it. Another might spend hours experimenting with the staff until finally getting something to work. The heretics have had limited success in this way. Their healers can perform many of the same functions as the druids do for the keepers, just not as effectively or with as broad a power base. Their mages can use magic, especially pyromancy, but understand nothing behind what they do. Because of this, they will never be as dangerous as Morgana's cultists or a properly trained battle mage. And by tapping into Albion's magic directly, without understanding, the heretics' magic users have all been driven mad. So that's about it on heretics. People who have been outcasts by both worlds. who are just simply, I think, are misunderstood and driven to madness because of the isolation. So yeah, that's about it. And I hope you do enjoy the rest of the video. Comment whatever you would want to say and maybe help me out on my Albion journey. Drop a like if you like the video, and I hope you do subscribe. So yes, enjoy the rest of the video.